What happens when you redefine an entire genre with just one album? Let's spill the tea on Lauryn Hill. Hey there, it's Emma, and I'm feeling totally inspired today, like high-key goosebumps inspired. So, let's talk Lauryn Hill. Rapper, singer, songwriter, frontwoman of the Fugees, architect of neo-soul and that seamless rap-singing lane everyone lives in now. Her solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, didn't just chart, it reset the culture. She was a Black woman asserting total creative control and winning the biggest prizes in a male-dominated machine. She made hip-hop feel intimate, soulful, universal, and she did it with one diamond-certified statement piece. Okay, personal moment. I had this huge event a few years back. Nerves spiking, hands shaking, the whole thing. I throw on Doo-Wop That Thing, Lauryn's 1998 #1 single that debuted straight at the top. The beat drops, the horns wink, and she's basically my big sister in the mirror telling me, respect yourself, claim your worth, don't get played. It was the pep talk I didn't know I needed. By the second chorus, I'm like, yas, queen, let me adjust my neckline and fix my energy. Then I finally saw her live. The anticipation in the room was feral. When she walked on, the place erupted. And here's what gagged me. She didn't just play the album. She rebuilt it in real time. Faster tempos, reharmonized sections. The band locked on her hand signals. Some people around me were like, wait, where's my exact nostalgia? But the message was clear. You came for a museum tour. She came to show you a living document. It was boundary setting as performance art, and weirdly, that choice was empowering. If Lauryn can refuse to shrink for anyone, then I can walk on stage and be my whole, messy, evolving self. All right, basics for the uninitiated. Lauryn Hill is the New Jersey-born artist who helped push hip-hop into broader pop spaces by fusing bar-for-bar rapping with church-honed, classic soul singing. NPR named her one of its 50 great voices, saying her voice tells the story of the hip-hop generation. She was the only woman on MTV's Greatest MCs list in the 2000s, and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is the diamond-certified juggernaut. The first rapper to win Album of the Year at the Grammys, and the first woman to win 5 Grammys in one night. She was also the first rapper on the cover of Time, and Apple Music even crowned Miseducation #1 on their 100 Best Albums list. Like, receipts for days. But before the solo quake, there were the Fugees. That's the trio with Wyclef Jean, the Haitian-American musician and producer, and Pras Michel, the rapper who co-founded the group. Their album The Score in the mid-90s sold over 20 million worldwide, blending reggae, soul, and rap with conscious lyrics. Lauryn's raspy alto on Killing Me Softly became the group's calling card. Fans literally begged her to go solo, and she did, carrying that El Boogie charisma straight into Miseducation. Important players in Lauryn's orbit matter to the story. Rohan Marley. He's Bob Marley's son, the reggae icon who basically globalized the genre. Lauryn and Rohan had children together. Motherhood is stitched into Miseducation with To Zion. There's Nas, the Queen's rapper, who later teamed with her on Nobody, proving her pen and presence still cut like glass. There's Mary J. Blige, the R&B queen, for whom Lauryn wrote and produced All That I Can Say. And Carlos Santana, the rock guitarist whose Supernatural album Lauryn worked on as a producer. This is a cross-genre power grid. Now, what did it cost? She has spoken openly about fighting industry sexism and demanding credit as a true auteur. Think Prince energy, full authorship or bust. She brought live instruments to the forefront, recorded at Tough Gong in Jamaica, leaned into doo-wop harmonies and gospel grit, kept the hip-hop knock without sanding off the humanity. And she set boundaries off stage, too. At some events, her team reportedly asked people to address her as Ms. Hill. Some called that diva. I call it labor terms. She's saying, I run my shop with respect. Okay, big unanswered question. The songwriting and production credits on Miseducation. A production collective called New Arc claimed they were undercredited. Lauryn's camp and engineer Gordon Williams have emphasized it was her overarching vision. It was settled out of court around 2001 with no official authorship ruling. Here's my take. In late 90s R&B and hip-hop, the line between songwriting, arranging, and producing was a fog machine. Multiple truths can coexist. Lauryn's blueprint and authorship were the spine. And yes, strong collaborators contributed muscle and texture. The industry owes artists and collaborators clarity, not chaos. That gray zone still bites people today. The career turns after that were bold, messy, and real. She stepped back around 2000, digging into Bible study and rejecting what felt fake. Her MTV Unplugged No. 2.0 in the early 2000s featured a raw voice, acoustic guitar, and long monologues about fear and freedom. Critics were split at the time, but Mystery of Iniquity became the backbone of Kanye West's All Falls Down. Kanye is the Chicago rapper and producer known for sampling and reinvention. That is Lauryn. Even in her most vulnerable phase, she was still scoring the future. She also used the stage as a pulpit for conscience. She confronted church leaders at a Vatican concert in the early 2000s over abuse scandals. Later, she released Black Rage, a protest song tying racism to economic harm. She canceled a show near Tel Aviv when she couldn't arrange a paired show in Ramallah, trying not to alienate fans on either side. And yes, the tax case in the early 2010s led to a short prison sentence. She got out, kept working, and stayed spicy about consumerism and market culture. Complicated woman, consistent principles. That's a look. Live shows. Let's address the discourse. Reports of lateness have been a thing for years. She has said aligning the energy, logistics, and the music matters. Fans say, okay, but my babysitter and the venue curfew. I hold both truths. An artist is a worker with a process, and a ticket buyer deserves clarity. My advice? Know you're seeing a reinterpretation, not a tribute act, and build in time. If that's a no-go for you, sit this one out. No shade, just saying. Recent chapters. In 2024, she popped up at Coachella during her son YG Marley's set. YG is Joshua Omaru Marley, her son with Rohan, now an artist in his own right. She and Wyclef reunited on Fugees hits. And later that year, a planned Fugees US tour got canceled days before kickoff. Clickbait, low sales, lawsuits. Choose your headline. Praz filed suit in 2024 over tour finances. Lauryn pushed back publicly. As of then, nothing was adjudicated. Drama aside, the art keeps moving. She was nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2026 and performed at the Grammys that year, honoring Roberta Flack and D'Angelo. Roberta being the legendary singer behind the iconic 70s version of Killing Me Softly, and D'Angelo, the neo-soul luminary. She even surprised a Kanye Stadium show in 2026, performing All Falls Down and more. Tell me why this woman with one traditional studio album still dominates headlines like she just dropped 3 mixtapes. Enduring relevance check. Modern stars who flip between bars and melodies are walking a path Lauryn cleared. The way X Factor keeps getting sampled into new life, that's permanence. Her What Happened, Miss Simone cuts showed reverence and reinvention. Diaspora Calling, her Brooklyn festival in the 2010s, platformed global black art. And even her sporadic releases feel like interventions, not content calories. When she speaks, it's because something matters. Low-key, I respect the scarcity model. It makes the work feel sacred. Before we bounce, here's my thesis in one breath. Lauryn Hill took hip-hop to church without losing the cipher, demanded credit in a sexist industry, turned a single album into a Rosetta Stone for 2 generations, and insisted that boundaries are part of the art. You can disagree with the choices, but you cannot deny the blueprint. Iconic, full stop. Next time, we're diving into another barrier-breaking music icon who rewired the rulebook and made the gatekeepers sweat. You are not ready. So that's the tea, folks. Stay bold, stay inspired, and catch you next time.